Greetings survivors and friends, SHADOWFRAX here with your obligatory weekly data burst of Rust development news, and as it's getting close to September's patch, we're all starting to wonder exactly what new and exciting things it'll bring for us to start complaining about. Well, I'm going to try and give you some idea today, but first, I see a lot of you haven't joined the Ring-a-Ding-Ding Club yet, so now's a good chance, and of course, sub to the channel to help me grow. Talking of subs, over on staging, drowning's being replaced by low oxygen, which gives greater scope for asphyxiation than just trying to breathe water. Fun fact, did you know it's impossible to drown in lava? As far as Rust goes though, soon you'll have limited times between dives in a submarine and won't simply be able to sit beneath the waves until you run out of snacks and drinks. From being surfaced, and yes that includes moon pools, a submarine will have 10 minutes worth of oxygen in it, which will start counting down as soon as you fully immerse. But you say, what about if rub-a-dub-dub, there's 2 men in a sub? Wouldn't there be only 5 minutes of oxygen? Well, as Rust is a hyper-realistic simulation of actual life, the answer is no. The more people you have in a submarine, the shorter and shallower their breaths, of course. Plus, we wouldn't want to give solos an advantage now, would we? Lol. If you do want to stay down where it's wetter for longer than 10 minutes at a time, you can of course pack a diving tank, and as soon as the oxygen in the sub runs out, you'll automatically switch over to using it. You'll also know from which source you're breathing thanks to a couple of snazzy new animated icons that will display next to your oxygen status. Another new feature coming to submarines will be storage, and for both, this will mean 12 slots to snaffle things away in. In the duo sub, a box will appear in between the driver and passenger with a bit of subtle extra lighting to help you find it, and in the solo it'll be on the outside next to the fuel tank, which conveniently can also be accessed from inside. Realism. Along with this, torpedoes are being made a tiny bit faster, the new pedestrian access moon pools are on staging now, and as well as fewer underwater labs, about 3 on a default map, they should be a bit more spread out. All of these changes will be coming to release in the next patch, but what do you think of them? Are they a breath of fresh air, or would you rate them as substandard? Please let me know in the comments down below. Back on land, a nerf is coming to crawling, with the crawling wounded having their health reduced by 75%. That's a lot of damage. A few more spawners and prefabs were opened up for map makers to use, and talking of which, I'm sorry to say this, Prefab Wolf, but it seems they fixed that floating crate of yours. Yeah, shame about that. At least I got another one round the corner. Bit more subtle it is. Well, that's crate news. Yeah, well, I'm just boxing clever. Over to works in progress, and I was really hoping to be able to show you some actual images of the new desert military bases this week, but alas, the team are still working on the visuals, so you'll have to make do with my rendition for a little bit longer. Same thing goes for the new camper module that's coming for cars, although we do seem to understand the functionality of it quite well from the commits now. Looks like it'll provide a spawn point for at least 3 players, having seats which double as sleeping bags and give comfort, and a built-in locker and barbecue. Again, we'll just have to wait to see what it looks like, but in the meantime, I've spent literally minutes making you a highly accurate depiction of what to expect. Savor. In Rust staging in your Steam library, you can now access a new beta called AUX01, and this is basically staging plus, or minus, depending on how you want to look at it. In essence, this is where the absolute cutting edge of development will be happening now before it even goes to staging, but will of course be potentially even less stable. Also, don't forget, if you want to try this out, you'll need to join a server running the same branch. Lastly, in works in progress, Helk still seems to be busy with implementing missions, which, as you may remember from September's dev blog of last year, are meant to allow players to acquire items and blueprints from means other than simply farming scrap, and that said missions will be provided by NPCs at certain monuments such as fishing villages and stables. Details are sparse at the moment, although we have seen commits regarding being able to receive phone calls from NPCs, and interestingly, although not necessarily related, are some fresh commits that have popped up about Nexus. So what's that? Well, you may remember me saying something about this a few months ago, but there was talk of a new Nexus redirect function that could make a client switch to a different server. TLDR, server transitioning, which is something that's been on the cards for a very long time, and means being able to take your character and gear with you and go to another server. with limitations of course, so don't start imagining you'd be able to jump on a 10,000 times server, make a billion C4 and go raiding everyone on vanilla. That's just stupid. No, I think rather this could be something to do with mission objectives, but I might be completely wrong and it's just coincidence. Still exciting though. Right, you know everything you need to now. Follow me on Twitch for streams, Twitter, Facebook, Discord and my Steam group for content updates, and you can support my efforts in a number of ways, such as with YouTube memberships now, by becoming a patron on Patreon, or just by grabbing some subject to change merch over on my store. All the links you need are down below. I shall catch you all soon. In the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio. This video is powered by AWDIT's producer range of workstation PCs available now at awdit.co.uk. Low oxygen!